Hello and good afternoon from wherever you're watching this video. This is video number 2 of, I hope, several that go along with my Facebook page, The New Fire Officer. But I think the lessons that we'll discuss here and the ideas, theories, philosophies, opinions can relate to just about any discipline that you're in. So if you're not from the fire service, we welcome you. As always, if you're watching this and you like it, share and subscribe so that you know when we're putting out content. But I had a lot of responses on what people wanted me to discuss in these videos, and so today's going to be the first one, and probably a number of clips that we talk about what does an ideal candidate look like for promotion. And first, let me just say that there's not a silver bullet. At least there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be one thing that any chief or promotional board, whoever's charged with that in your organization, there shouldn't be that one thing that they're looking for. It's a multitude of traits, characteristics, attitudes, behaviors. I mean, it's a great big ball of wax, and we're trying to pick the candidate that best exemplifies the most important of those things that's in that ball of wax. There could be some things that have more weight when we look at certain aspects of a promotion and who we want to do that. Today I'm going to talk about two particular things that are kind of broad in definition, but they're really easy to identify in people in the long term if you look at somebody's history. And those two things are initiative and consistency. If you've read any of my books, or you've taken any of my classes, or you've read any of my posts on Facebook on The New Fire Officer, you know that I've mentioned before that you can't cram for a promotion. Now, people do it and get away with it. Like anything in the fire service, there are almost zero absolutes. There's a lot of things that go into your specific organization and how you do things and how you promote. But ideally, if we're wanting to pick the best candidates for who's going to be an ambassador and represent our organizations, to me, just for this video, and there'll be more, is consistency and initiative. So let's start with initiative. Initiative can start and should start the day you walk in the door. The day that you start that job or you get to come on to your volunteer department, initiative starts right then and there. And it can be as simple as asking questions and not weird off the wall questions, but genuinely intuitive, inquisitive things that you want to know about what's going on. Hey, chief or captain or whoever, when I come in, ideally, what's the routine? What happens first? Hey, Cap, when I show up at the Volley House on training nights, what's the system we use for putting our names on trucks? Hey, what's in this compartment? Why do we, why has this got a 2.5-inch load, and this has got a 3-inch load, or whatever those things are? It starts there with that initiative as soon as you walk in the door. As you have more time on the job, whether it's career or volunteer, that initiative starts to turn into doing things productively and constructively on your own that you don't need to be told. And that's the ideal employee. That's the ideal member, right? Is the one that comes to work, comes to the Volley House, and just starts getting things done. Sometimes that's asking, hey, Cap, can we go do this? Hey, Cap, I read an article. I wonder if we can try this hose load. Now, sometimes you get shot down. There's no doubt about it, and that's a shame. But by and large, at the micro level, at the lowest level of department, you have a lot of latitude to be inquisitive and to ask questions and to initiate things. Pulling tools off of an apparatus and starting to sand the rust off of an axe, and cleaning it up and checking it for splinters and a weak head and cracks in the axe head and things of that nature, and getting the tools cleaned up so there's no rust. You oil them, they look good. You paint them if that's what you do, and taking that initiative without having to be told and without there being a reason. It's easy to do that when a tool breaks, but just doing it because it needs to be done is initiative. Asking to go to a class, asking to do a drill, asking to do just about anything that's productive around the firehouse is initiative. And we want to see that throughout a person's career, not just when there's the possibility of a retirement and a future promotion. It's easy to do when those things are there, because we get back to that whole idea that, we want to do things that are hard. We want to do the things others don't or won't do. And that's not just when you're an officer. That's when you're a candidate. And you're a candidate basically until you either get promoted or you decide you just don't want to promote. And there's nothing wrong with not wanting to promote, but you're always a candidate. And you should always look at it as, to improve and get better in this job, I'm going to show initiative. And those are just some short examples. And when we talk about what I look for as a chief, whether I'm on a board for an out-of-town agency or if I'm in my own, I'm looking for people with initiative, sustained, consistent initiative, not just recently initiative, not just because the timing's good for them initiative. It's initiative to make themselves and those around them better and to make the organization better. The second thing that goes along with this is consistency. And I kind of alluded to it in the whole initiative thing, is that I want people that are going to be consistent in all that they do. Now, I don't want them consistently bad. Okay, that's not the kind of consistency we obviously want. We want consistency in doing the right things for the right reason all the time. We want consistency in their temperament and attitude. Doesn't mean they don't have a bad day, but they're consistent in not having public complaints on them when they're on the ambulance. They're consistent in they do all the little things right almost their entire career. Again, everybody has ebbs and flows in a career, and I'm not exempt from that. Had bad days, bad months in my career, but I was taught to be consistent with your good attitude, be consistent with good habits, meaning getting to work on time, which means you're early. You're not making your relief wait to get out of the engine house when you're on duty. Being consistent in doing whatever needs to get done around the house. And we'll talk more about chasing kinks in a different video, but you're doing the things consistently that, number one, benefits the public, number two, benefits the organization, number three, benefits your shift and or company, and then finally benefits yourself. And those priorities are really important to think about when we look at consistency. What are they consistent at? What are they consistent at doing day in and day out? We also have people who are consistent at being jerks, who are consistent at being obstinate, who are consistent at being, very contrary in their opinions and how the district goes in the direction of your department. They're very consistent in always being the resistance. And that consistency is going to work against them, even though they change a year or 6 months before the promotion. It's easy to do when those things come take place. Consistency is hard. Consistency is a grind, and consistency takes a lot of effort on the individual's part. And the more consistent you are, the harder it is. And that expectation is always on you. The more consistent you are at doing those productive and constructive things, and it becomes difficult, and it's mentally challenging and it's physically challenging at times. But those two things, to begin this series of what an attractive candidate for promotion looks like, those two things, if you want to start something tomorrow or tonight, initiative, consistency. And unfortunately, consistency, if you've not been the kind of employee or firefighter or member that you've wanted to be, it's going to take you some time to build that reputation and for that to be noticed as a positive attribute for you. Consistency is not a 2-week win. It's not a 2-month win. It might not be a 2-year win. It just depends on what you've done before then and how long you've done it. So Very, very important. Consistency and initiative is where you start to build your reputation. And those two things are very easy to get started, difficult to maintain, but they should reward you at the end. So again, hit the subscribe button, share, and I'll have something for you in about a week or so. So thanks for tuning in. Take care. See you soon.